My name is Molly McCracken. I'm a part-time teaching artist. I teach at the Museum of Contemporary Art, Arlington, and I have a studio at the studios at 307 in Falls Church. And I'm also a mom full-time. Yeah, my studio practice is varied. I make a lot of collage. And assemblage. That's sort of my primary medium. And as I said, my studio is at Studios at 307, which is in Falls Church, Virginia. And I also have a little home studio where I can work, but it's a small space. So I do sell my work for people who are interested, but I don't have it up on my website. It's not the primary focus. The teaching is the primary focus, and the making of the art is the primary focus. Oh, I was so excited when I heard about this Pull Up a Chair project. I really felt connected to the idea of doing a project really around mental health. And so when Sandra invited me, I was very excited, and I immediately had an idea of what I wanted to do with the idea of panic attacks for my chair. So that's how this came to be. Yeah, during the beginning of the pandemic, I was having really intense panic attacks almost every night. And it was a combination of a global pandemic, all these social injustice issues that were happening, trying to care for my children and make sure that they had everything they needed, sort of the environmental crisis, all of these things, and I was just having panic attacks all the time. And so for me, a panic attack it would happen at night mostly, and it would feel like lightning or something just grabbing a hold of me and making my heart race and making my breathing fast, and just a feeling of discomfort at a really deep level. And so this is how I represented it in the chair, through these long black tentacles that sort of reach out and surround you when you're sitting in the chair. And then on the front, on the seat part, there's sort of a bubbly, bright pattern of circles that represents sort of the mask during the daytime when everything was going well, and people were probably like, oh, she's got it all together, she's always smiling. But then, you go back to bed and the storm gathers, there's sort of a cloud shape at the back and all of these twisted pieces of wire that are just sort of not in any particular order, they're just wild. And then, the panic would grab you. And so, and if you get up and touch the chair, the back is really rough, sort of representing the discomfort that you feel when you're having a panic attack. Yeah, I'm really fortunate, very privileged to have good medical insurance, and I've reached out to my primary care doctor when I've needed help, and I have a therapist that I talk to when I need help, and together they've been a really good care team for me. My family is also a good support. There have been times when many of my family members have been touched by, some sort of difficulty in their lives, and we're really fortunate to have access to the care we need when we need it. Mm-hmm. So I talked a little bit about it. As I said, it was a chair that I found, well, I didn't say this, but I'm going to say it now. It was a chair that I found when another artist was moving out of their studio, and it was kind of rickety and it was wobbly. And so I had to glue it all back together, which was sort of like the initial starting point. When you need to, when you're having a difficult time, anxiety or depression or whatever, I think you need to start with the foundations. And so I glued it all back together so it's nice and sturdy now. And then I started painting, and my favorite colors are pink and green, so that plays a big role in a lot of my artwork. But I like the shape of a circle. The circle looks like rocks on a beach, and that's, my grandma was a geologist, and so we used to go look for rocks on Lake Superior, and it was very calming to watch the water lapping over your feet while you were looking for agates and jasper and all the different beautiful rocks that are up there. And so circles play a big role in a lot of my artwork. And then as I was building it up, I wanted to have this part at the top and the parts underneath be very, very dark. And so I initially started with just a regular black paint, but it wasn't quite, it didn't quite suck the light away enough. So one of my friends at my studio, thank you, Casey, offered me some of her black paint, and it really made the right look for what I was trying to achieve. And then these tubes that are over, it's a coat hook, like a hanger that has been unraveled, and the tubes on top of them are from my CPAP machine, which sounds like an old lady thing, but it's a really important part of my sleep routine, and getting enough sleep helps me to stay relaxed and manage my anxiety and the panic. And so, and it also represents like the night when everything's very dark and you have your eyes closed and you start to feel this feeling. I know that I can just breathe and get back to sleep, and everything's going to be okay. So that's sort of, and then this cloud shape at the back was sort of in reference to the feeling of like a storm gathering. Oh, I feel something coming. I felt this before. I know I can get through it if I go back to the ways that I can handle it. No, when Sandra invited me to do this, I immediately knew what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to have that feeling of something just surrounding you and like pulling you, they're almost like tentacles, like, so, the McCracken coming up out of the water and pulling you down deep. And so it was really one take. I just started making it, and I made little adjustments and additions. There was one time where I was considering adding little strings with like sort of a pill to represent medication that could help manage the panic attacks. But I decided that I wanted this to be the feeling of a panic attack, a realized 3D version of a panic attack. I'm just so thankful to Sandra for inviting me to be a part of this exhibition. It's really important to have these conversations in a very open and honest way, and I feel like art is a really great way to both express feelings that you're having inside and bring them together in a conversation. I'm really looking forward to seeing all the chairs together and seeing how they interact with each other in addition to meeting the other artists.